Hi, everyone. I am Trisha Winkler, founder and creator of Once a Month Meals, and I have Alicia here with me today, who has kindly agreed to be interviewed as a past Once a Month Meals member who is interested in coming back and utilizing Once a Month Meals, but in a very different way than she did in the past. As we've discussed, how she used Once a Month Meals is very an old style where we did all of these meals in one day. So we're going to ask her questions around how she used to do Once a Month Meals. And then we're going to approach and make a transformation of how we suggest her do those meals today. So this is both going to be a long form series and potentially a longer video that we would post on YouTube in its entirety, but we're going to make a series of this. And so let's get started. If you'll introduce us to you and kind of what your lifestyle is, what does your family look like? And then we'll get into some questions about Once a Month Meals.
Fantastic. Thanks, Trisha. So my name is Alicia and I'm perpetually busy. So my life is hectic from work to yoga. I'm a wife. I've got a 2-year-old golden doodle that takes up all of our time. And I'm always trying to figure out better ways to eat healthier, as opposed to eating out and have food ready. A lot of times I just kind of, when I'm hungry, I need something. And I'd rather grab something that's prepared and healthy as opposed to, door dashing and just going out and picking up food. So that's why, like Trisha said, I've attempted Once a Month Meals a few different times and just need a revamp on it and see what that looks like.
Yeah. And you are like, in fact, a conversation with you many years ago informed much of the changes that are present today that have been put into place since you last were here, because you and I ran into each other at an event and you explained that you were a Once a Month Meals member, but that it was so overwhelming to do 30 meals in one day and that you were like, oh my gosh, this is just such a big deal. And we're going to get back to that. And since then, we've kind of revamped how we do things, and we're going to show you in this series how we did that. But let's start with, how did you find Once a Month Meals? What what intrigued you? And then what did that look like when you last did it?
Yeah. So I found Once a Month Meals. I had a friend that was using the program and she told me how great it was for her and her husband to make meals. And she's probably the worst cook that I know in the world. And I was like, if she can do this, I can do this.
Great.
So I was like, this is fantastic. And then I just kind of started thinking about, some of the things with Once a Month Meals. The healthier eating, less stress, convenience, time efficiency, like all those elements, and kind of like pulled those in and was like, great, like all I need is a weekend to be able to do this.
And so you set up a meal plan so we are Once a Month Meals, which tends to be a month worth of meals, right? And that's how a lot of people started out. But once we developed this and we developed the software, we started to realize, like your experience, that 30 meals is sort of the equivalent of when you're starting freezer cooking. Like, say you've never done freezer cooking before and you decide to do 30 meals in a day or two. That's the equivalent of saying, like, I've never run, but I'm going to run a marathon this weekend, and realizing that many of our starting customers were customers who had done freezer cooking. But those new folks that had never done freezer cooking needed more of a stair step. They needed more of a progression into that. So when you did your cooking days, was it 30 meals? And what were the pros and, like, you can admit what you didn't like, what didn't work too.
Yeah. So when we did it, we went to the grocery store to pick up all the ingredients at the time and had, I think, maybe a full cart, maybe a little bit more of groceries. And then my wife and I kind of put together everything on the counter. And because of the fact that we customized the meal plans, it made it a little bit trickier. So like maybe carrots were only in one recipe as opposed to like 3 or 4. And so there was a lot of like cutting and prepping and doing all that stuff. And by the time we got done with grocery shopping and then prepping, we're like, okay, we need to take a break and like finish the rest tomorrow. And like you said, it was the whole marathon. Like, I've never swam before, but here we go. That type of thing.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about doing Once a Month Meals now, what are your biggest resistant points? What are the things that, like, oh, I liked this, but I don't want this?
Yeah, I think it's the customization kind of pieces to it. I want to customize because I'm picky. I've got allergies, all of the things. And I'm trying to kind of put it all together. But I think, having the convenience and having variety and all of those things and not, making the same 5 regular meals a week that we do, will not also like help me, but my marriage, like it's a good thing.
Yes, yes. So I think in one of our suggestions is, instead of doing 30 meals in one day, we have a lot of mini meal plans now. And so a full whole month meal plan is 15 recipes that get doubled to 30 meals. So technically like 30 dinners. However, the minis are 5 recipes that double to 10 meals. And so that gets us about 2 weeks, because there are going to be times that you choose to go out to eat. There are going to be times, and this is something that I also do. And then it's like every 2 weeks, I make a meal plan, and or I make extra of those recipes. So I may be doing 5 recipes, but I may make 3 of each of them so that it would last me 15 days, and then I could do one this weekend and have 15 meals. And then I could do one next weekend and have 15 meals. And then I can so there's lots of ways that we can do that. But I would love for us to have you, Alicia has logged into her account, and even though she was a paid member in the past, she now has a free account. Anybody can sign up for a free account. No credit card is needed to be able to access the recipes, to be able to sort through, to be able to access potential meal plans, and to start building custom meal plans. And there are a couple of key things that I wanted to show you and to show her around how we can have once a month meals guide us a bit. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen and your account. So this is the My Meal Plans, where we can build custom meal plans, and that is a great place to start. However, we also recommend, and we highly recommend for our free and our paid members, for you to go up to that top right corner, has that little question mark next to little question mark. Yeah. It will lead you to the Get Started page. And that is a video that is going to show you the difference between a paid membership and a free membership. You have the paid membership one here because you've been a past member. But if you scroll on down, one of the reasons that Alicia has the question mark is that she has not taken our success path quiz. And this is a success path that we have created since the last time she was a member, to help people along, like, where do you fall in the path of freezer cooking? So I'm going to ask her to fill this out online with us so that you can see what this quiz is, and where it takes us. And we can talk about why Once a Month Meals isn't just a subscription app. It's actually going to take you through what is the best thing for you. So, yep, let's take the quiz. Okay. So I'll read it while you're figuring it. I have a freezer cooked before today, or made a meal for freezer in the past. True or false? True. I have made at least one recipe, doubled it, and frozen one for later. True. I have made at least 3 recipes, doubled them, and frozen one for later. True or false? I have successfully completed a Get Started or Keep It Simple mini menu.
Would I call that success?
This would be doing a meal plan that we have created.
Okay.
And suggested for you. So it's false.
False.
So she is a one and done expert. Okay. So she's going to submit that, and it is going to take her to the one and done stage 2 and recommendations. So you can see the progression of the different personas. One is a well-meaning meal planner, versus a one and done expert versus a keep it simple versus a dump and go versus a mix it up master, which it's very funny because we have said that in the past that she has made her own custom menu and done that. Well, that is stage 5. So she kind of skipped over all these other stages, but we didn't have these back then. And this is the progression that we have made to hopefully make it successful. So if you're going to run a marathon, you might, start training, and you might run a 5K and then a 10K and then a half and then a full. And so this is some of the things that we recommend. If you scroll on down, you'll see some of our favorite make one, freeze one recipes. So recipes for the stage. If you scroll on down just a little bit more, you'll see a PDF guide for successful freezer cooking tips and tricks. And so you can download that for yourself as well. And that it gives you some great checklists and goals for your particular stage.
There we go.
Awesome. Yeah. So that is just really one of the manuals for how to successfully navigate the freezer cooking journey. If you want to follow that, let's see, scroll on down. I think there should be. Yeah, so it gives you some tasks for completing the next, and some action items, and these are some suggested meal plans that would be simple for you to start with, so if you want to maybe just click on one of those that feels like it's most aligned for you, and then we can work on, and you can again do this with a free membership there. And so if we so this is it's already created. We know at Once a Month Meals what makes it simple and what is great for the stage. Now, these may not be recipes that you love, but we're going to try to work with these for right now and then make some adaptations for you. And this will be great for the audience as well. So if you scroll back up, you'll be able to add to my meal plans there so that we can customize it.
Perfect.
All right, so now we have it. It's going to save it. So if we were to click over to My Meal Plans, which we don't need to do, it would be in your My Meal Plans, and we can scroll down. And is there a recipe on there that you're like, yeah, absolutely not?
I'm probably the pineapple pepper sounds pretty awful to me.
Okay. All right. So just, go ahead and trash that. All right. And so one of the things that this stage focuses on is the dump and go stuff, And so we could go back up to recipes now and search for dump and go Instant Pot recipes to replace this one. And there are all kinds of parameters we can change. But perfect. And so we're going to click the cook day cook type right there. Yep. Let's choose easy assembly dump and go. Yep. And then if we're going to go up top to the 51 tags that we have that you can like simplify this, we definitely want to click on the Instant Pot. If we want to stick to that Instant Pot theme, you don't have to think. But if there's other ones that that you want to do, like dairy free or yeah, perfect. All right. And there's 639 recipes now for her to choose from in terms of this. And with these starter meal plans, we often suggest that you, like just try to make as few adaptations as possible if you need to. Awesome. But if you stick with these more simple recipes to start with, I don't know if you want to choose one out of the box or just for our example or not, but totally up to you.
Yeah.
Those are a family favorite of mine. So then you can just add this recipe to that meal plan. And then let's go to that meal plan. Awesome. Now hit the download button for the resources. Okay. So as a free member, you do not have access to the resources. So you can create these custom menus that will save. You can create a meal plan up to 5 recipes. You will have to pay either $15 a month, $40 a quarter, or $150 a year in order to then get the prep sheet, grocery list, and all of those things that are going to make it easy for you to do. But this is sort of like, if you don't have a Trisha to do a video with and walk you through the choices, this is already encompassed in once a month meals. And as you, let's go back to even like where, instead of the question mark, you should have a 2 up there. Yeah, perfect. And we go to there. If we are interested in what is the next stage or what is the stage before mine, you can go to your next goals. And it'll take you to the landing pages of all of the different, so you can see some of the best starter stuff if you want. This is our recommendation. Again, some people just want to go off of what they want to do. And if that is the case for you, you're like, Trisha, I like that, but I want something different. You can go up to the top where it is meal plans. And these are already created once a month meal plans that we have created ourselves that are supposed to be conducive to what you're doing. You know, real food and vegetarian are going to be a lot more chopping, but even that, these are built. So you could also search these for one that is less intensive. Again, I would suggest staying with the minis. And I think there's even like a meal plan type over there where you can choose mini. So, and then I know we have talked before around, so you chose the Instant Pot Dump and Go mostly because it was in your stage. We've talked also like, do you think that's the way you're going to go? Or do you think you want more meals that you make and you cook them on the cooking day so that they just have to be warmed up on the serving day, like single serving meals?
Yeah, I think single serving meals are definitely an option.
Okay, so if we're going to do that, we don't want to choose dump and go. We could still do Instant Pot, but ready to eat. If you could click the ready to eat button, see what we get here. Okay, so these are 45 meal plans where you're going to be cooking the meal on cooking day, or on your freezer cooking day. So you'll have 5 recipes to make meals from, and then you can either single serving portion. This is what I do. I do a lot of this. And so these are all ones that you have. If you want to scroll just a little bit, I see the make one freeze ones are in there. Yeah, a level lunchbox. So anything that's lunch is also, so you could also serve by lunch if you didn't want to do ready to eat. But the lunchbox ones are really good because they're kind of like a complete meal. But all of these meal plans should be designed to be cooked on the day. Those days are a little bit more cooking intensive on the cooking days instead of just dump and go, but they're really great for pull and grab and warm up meals, especially if you tend to DoorDash or not know what you want to eat until the last minute, like what sounds good. That's a lot what I do.
Perfect. And all these can be free. You can put them in the freezer after you make them.
Yes, yes. Everything on once a month meals has been tried and tested with volunteer everyday people, test cooks who have frozen these as stated and eaten them and given us positive feedback in terms of how they turned out and the freezability and the taste and all of that before they've put on. And again, you can use these. We suggest using these pre-done meal plans, either in the stages or these ones that we've already created, and swapping out 1 or 2 recipes on a menu to make it most conducive. And again, if you're swapping out recipes that have similar, so you might want to, let's scroll down and see if there's like a fall lunchbox one, because we're also, the more seasonal ones that you do, the more likely you are to have cost savings as well. Like, do we need probably, well, interesting. We might need some fall. There's a fall paleo one. We need more fall meal plans. I'm gonna have to get with Mindy on that one. All right. Let's, I know you're not necessarily paleo, but let's, that's breakfast too. Let's do the food, the soup freezer recipes. So look at, now we can't see the docs and resources, but one of the things would be like, if you're ready to do this, is to look at what meats. So that has a couple chicken recipes. So you may not want to add another chicken recipe, but like using like ingredients or searching for a similar ingredient could also help with that. I tend to balance mine out a little bit. So the taco soup probably uses hamburger, and then you have chicken, and then you probably have like beans. So yeah, that's another like way to, but I think as long as you're using 3 of the 5 recipes in any given mini meal plan, you should be pretty good with just the load. We also, when we're building these meal plans, are trying not to, especially if you're cooking all of them in one day, try not to use all of the same appliances. So we're gonna, unless it's unless it's a like sheet pan meal plan, which we do have, you know, that's all in the oven, right? Like, or if the Instant Pot, it's all in the Instant Pot. When you're doing ready to eat meals, it's really much better to do like an Instant Pot, a slow cooker, a baked, and a stove, so that technically you can kind of get them going at the same time. You can have something in a, if you have these appliances, you can have something in the slow cooker, something in the Instant Pot, something in the oven, something you're cooking on the stovetop, and that actually reduces your time quite a bit as well, to not being in the kitchen as long. And that's what we're here to help you do. The resources that you would be downloading as a member gives you a grocery list for shopping in the grocery store, so that you could, and I don't know if you would be willing to navigate to the stage 2 and then go, well, actually go to download again, and let's look at the documents and what you get. So what is inside, and you can see a preview and some videos here, but you're going to get a grocery list for that specific meal plan. You also got to choose how many servings. So you have mentioned that it's just the 2 of you. Well, you could set it to 4 if you want leftovers, and or you want to. So if you set your meals to 2 and you choose a recipe, you're going to make 4 servings of that recipe. Well, if you set it to 4, you're going to get to make 8. And so you'll have 8 meals to rotate. And I love to do that with these mini menus. And so it's going to give you what to buy at the grocery store in what quantities based on how you're going to buy them at the grocery store. So it's not going to tell you need 10 cups of diced onions on your grocery list. It's going to tell you need 10 onions, you know? And that way, when you get home, there's a prep instructions that tells you how to prep those things. I have also been, and this is another cheat code for making it simpler, I have been looking at that prep list and buying the onions and certain items that are already pre-prepped at the grocery store, already pre-prepped. I spend a little extra money to have my onions already diced or sliced, or my peppers sliced. And so if you look there, you can see how many cups you need. And so if you're buying in those quantities, and then you have your recipe cards that are scaled, and then your cooking day instructions are going to tell you how to make those in the the most efficient order. The algorithm of once a month meals is also going to give you the efficiency order that hopefully will keep you out of the kitchen, like not in the kitchen for a long time. So I've been talking a lot. What questions do you have? What do you still like? Now's your time. Ask away.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think keeping 3 of the same meals on the list and then adding similar ingredients for the other 2, that's really helpful. And then also, it definitely, I could see myself using the crock pot, the Instapot, the stove, you know, maybe the grill, like who knows, all the things to just multitask. So that way there's always something going. in getting it done sooner, because it's definitely, time is something that I want to kind of optimize there.
Yeah, awesome. Now, if we go back to that recipes page, you said that you had some allergies and some things that you had to navigate. If you just want to go to the recipes tab itself, yeah, are you able? And the other thing I noticed in looking at your account is that you only have one recipe favorited. You can actually favorite these recipes, and that favorite could be things that you like or just recipes you want to keep to make a custom meal plan or to make a meal plan in the future, or you just don't want to forget. Maybe it doesn't fit with your meal plan right now, but you don't want to forget it. When you have you used the recipe search recently?
I tried it out just to see like what kind of like nut-free recipes were kind of out there, because that's something
Okay.
that we struggle with.
Okay.
Um,
So there's only 9,500 recipes that are not free. Actually, if you want to click on one of these recipes, it doesn't really matter which one. I wanted to showcase something else too. All of these recipes have been reviewed by a dietitian at some point and have nutritional information. So if you see on the left, so you also might notice that there's some blurred out, like the freeze for later part is blurred out. That's the proprietary information that lives in the software that is copyrighted by us. And so as a free member, you don't have access to that. But if you want to make it now, you absolutely have, maybe you want to try a recipe out and make it now before you purchase membership. We strongly recommend that. We want to make sure it's going to work for you. That's why we have the free membership. But if you want the proprietary way to freezer cook it, that is what is hidden. But over there on the left, you can see the nutrition facts, and every recipe on the website has nutrition facts using an ESHA database. It's a database that dietitians use and our dietitian recommended, and all of our ingredients are linked to the USDA's preferred use of nutritional facts and information. And so it'll tell you how many servings, about what a serving is. So if you're trying to meet some dietary guidelines or macros or any of that kind of thing, you can calculate that here with each recipe as well.
So question here. So there's a make from frozen, which is after, after you've thaw it out and do all the things. There's a make it now, but then I see not to freeze for later. So is there like another third one that's out there afterwards? So like, I'm going to make it now, but then I'm going to freeze it. So what does that look like? Like, is there another like option there? Oh, freeze for later. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, so that's a stovetop recipe. And if you scroll up to the name, it kind of sometimes we'll have a recipe that is ready to eat, dump and go, all of that kind of stuff. And each of the way the database is centered, they have to be put in separately as separate recipes so they're not interchanged. It has to do with the macro data that is associated with the database. And so, yes, that is, and sometimes the make it now, and so you would make it now, and the freezing instructions is really just to portion it out. There are, however, some recipes that we recommend different cooking instructions and freezing instructions, like we may increase the quantity of a liquid or something. We may have you freeze it differently, or we may have you hold off on putting certain ingredients in until the warm-up day versus others. So that's a great question.
Awesome.
So
now I'm curious what I favorited. I'm like, what did I? Chicken and stuffing. Interesting.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So where do you think you're going next? Like, what are some next steps for you, do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look through the smaller kind of mini five menu item ideas with my wife and kind of figure out some plans for the week, just to see what we'll both agree to eat later. And yeah, definitely see what options there are. And then once I do that, going to pay the $15 because I don't feel like, going through and like figuring out ingredients time by time. Like I think it's just easier to do it and sign up for the service.